Hello, beautiful people. My name is Marika Gare, and this is the Inspiration Trilogy podcast, a platform for women across the globe to share wisdom, advice, and just really have some meaningful conversations. So today's guest is Navee Sparkle, who helps professional women attract the right relationships into their life. So welcome to the show, Navee.
Thank you so much, and I'm glad to be here. And thank you for this opportunity to connect with other women. And I feel like I welcome everybody who is listening.
Well, look, we'll just chatting before. It's an important part of today's society, particularly for women, to have the right relationships. But before we delve into all of that, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your journey and how you got to I guess doing this profession?
So in 2019, actually, I was in a very, very difficult marriage, and I felt that I needed to leave. There were a lot of doubts because I had a child. I have a child from that marriage. That time it was very hard, and I felt like, no, it's not for me. And somebody who loves to thrive and loves to be happy, and I just couldn't take it. So I left my ex-husband and we got divorced in 2020. Meanwhile, I really wanted to understand that what was happening. Like, he is a good man and I am a good woman, but why it didn't work? And it feel that I'm a Capricorn and we don't take failures very nicely. So I just got into, like, I remember that I at that time I used to live in Kenningville, and I went to Gosnell Library and I started looking for, some books on dating and relationships, because though it was very, very hard marriage and very difficult marriage, but it never stopped me to hoping to be in love or attract love or find love, whatever, you want to say.
Yeah.
So I found this book by John Gray, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus.
Yes, I've read that too.
Yeah, and it opened up my brain to how that women and men are different. You know,
Mm.
before that I used to think that, oh, men are just women in hairy body. Yeah, and it just like, okay. And there was a particular instant where, John Gray's wife gives birth, and whole day she's in pain, and he comes home and she just like, blowing off the handle. And I think this is what I remember from, because I haven't read that book again. And he just like how she shouts and all that. And then he thinks that, and he tells her that, if you would have said, honey, I am in pain, can you get me some painkillers? So that really resonated with me, and I just said, oh my goodness. And it did made me feel very sad. And I remember all those mistakes I made in my marriage. And yes, that, when there is a marriage, there are two parties. And I feel like it also put me off the burden I was carrying, that, oh, did I do something wrong? Because, when something fails, even if you don't say it from your face, you always feel, what's wrong with me? And
Yeah, you do. You really take it on board and what have I done wrong? Why do I deserve this kind of thing? And yeah, it's quite common to do that.
and I was like, I did everything what is asked in the marriage, too much. Like, I did too much. And
Yeah.
then I sort of went on this journey to digging deep. I worked for a few coaches, and then actually, on 31st March 2021, I met my now husband, Jordan. We met in Williton. That was the place. I said, "Oh, I don't drive too far. If you want to really meet me, come to this place." And then, okay, great. And he was like very thrilled, because he came across so many scammers, and he said, "I really liked that. Okay, we exchanged three texts, and you said, okay, I would like to hear your voice." And then he called, and we were out on a date. Okay. And then he said, I spent months and months talking to girls, and I felt like this woman is really confident. Like, she just said, okay, come to this place. I would be happy to meet. And this is how, like, this journey started. And we took time, like, I'm sort of a person that I don't take people on face value. I really like to know them. And I think it took me 6 months really to see that, oh, if he was handsome. He got all things like, I remember that we were dating for 5 months. And so, I think I've been always like this person. If there is something happening on the finances side, I get very triggered. And it comes from like, how I'm programmed around money and, in a scarcity mindset, which I'm still working. And I was really upset. And he said, what's up? And I said, I've got this tax bill because that time I feel that I was working in a job and I was made redundant and there was job keeper and everything. You had to report income. And I think I could really understand. And I said, look, there is a 5,000 bill and I don't know how to pay. And he said, you know what? I'm going to do my tax return soon. I can pay that. And I just looked at him like, and there've been like many, many things. And I feel like, as I said that this morning, like I was upset and I went to him and I just said, I've messed up. And he said, is there anything I can do? I stand ready for that. And, I feel like sometimes we women don't take that help because we feel that, oh, somebody expects anything from us. Most people don't, because men are built biologically to be protector and provider. Yep. But sometimes when we start in doing too much in relationships, they become very passive, which I see very often in relationships.
Yes. Yep.
My clients, all the time, they talk about it. And look, I feel like I'm not saying that my husband is perfect, but whenever there is something that bothers me, he because he loves me, so he really wants to know what's going on, and he would do anything to fix that. And I feel this was the thing. And I would say that this journey was attracting him was not easy. I had to really switch into my feminine and, use those both energy where they were needed, be masculine, smash goals at work. But when it was home, and even when we were dating, like I never paid for a date. I never, because this was my value, because I wanted a man who was ready to invest. And I feel like sometimes we get into this, it's great to be independent. I'm very independent. I have a property. I raised my son before I met my husband on my own. That is why I had to still do that when there is a person available, ready to do anything I would share. And I feel like sometimes we also see that, okay, if he's doing that, so I'm under control. There is no word control in our house. We believe in conscious parenting. We believe in conscious relationships. And if there is an issue, we know how to talk. And I had to build, actually, I feel like my husband was all great. And I had to work on really skills that how to share, how to really know that how was I feeling. I'm like but sometimes I think there was a lady who asked me, how are you feeling? And I said, I'm not feeling anything. I was so disconnected with my body because, I will be sick and I'll go to work. And after, really connecting with my body, I felt like I was torturing myself.
And I think a lot of women can kind of get in that space without realizing, a lot of women these days are fiercely independent. There's a lot of single parents out there now doing their own thing. They're doing their careers. And as you say, it's a very masculine thing. And it's almost like we feel like in society we have to be as good as males in a masculine way, but we don't, because it reduces our femininity, and it's such an important part of us, as you say, to be able to accept help, to be able to talk openly and feel confident in doing that, and to really acknowledge how we're feeling and be open to communication in relationships.
Yes, actually, I see every person on Facebook or Instagram talk about communication, communication, communication. But do we really step into how to communicate and how to communicate in a way that other gender understands? Because
communicate in person too, right? Not online.
Yeah, and also, really saying things, but look, I feel like I love when Brené Brown says, nobody to blame. And that is the situation. You can't get somebody to support if I start blaming my husband for something he has nothing to do. And most of time, because we women have seen bad examples, we all have childhood stories. I have stories.
Yeah.
I had to really embrace my own self and then move. I still have moments where I feel I'm not good enough. I don't do this. I don't do this. And you really have to get tuned to it. And especially, I feel like there is no competition. There is, look, where we are standing today, because we've been told you have to be better than men. Why? We are born differently. Like, I feel like, I don't want to say it, but if you look into the logistics, you can produce a child.
Yeah, exactly. That is an
might,
incredible gift. And I mean, that alone is enough. It's beautiful. It's a special thing where we bring beings onto this earth. So yeah.
I remember one of my coaches saying to me, if there is only men on this planet, there will be wars.
Yeah.
Just and women create beauty and peace. And that most healthy men look for.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you don't speak up. But if you are giving, like one of the video I've uploaded, and if you're giving him feedback every now and then, you're just losing your impact. You're losing your power as a woman. I feel we don't have to get into this power struggle with men. We have so much power, like so much power. You can produce a child, you create beauty. And look, if most men who are straight, they're always noticing girls. They're like, whether they are in Instagram, whether they're in real life. So, and there is nothing wrong if somebody desires you. And this is how they're built, like, and when men are after sex, we do like sex. Like I like sex, and it makes me feel even more connected to him. But judging him for being who he is, how he's built, I feel like that's not fair. And you have a words that no, if it doesn't feel good, you can say no. And I feel like speaking your truth and saying no without blaming anybody and without judging somebody's desire and taking time to get to know this person. I feel like I get to see a lot of women who are like, oh, I'm done with men. And these are the women who would not say no to sleeping on first date together and having sex. Because when you get that attention, you just run after it. We don't have to run. Like, it's like men are built to chase.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, and when you're chasing them, they're going away. Like, I want to give everybody who's ever listening a tip. Stop chasing your men. And create that space, because distance creates connection. And I'm not saying that, okay, lock him in a room. No, just don't chase him around the house. I used to have this habit, like initially when we sort of moved in together, like last year sometimes, and I'll just go see what he's doing, and then I said, what I'm doing, like, women. And I know that when I'm in my office working, every now and then he'll come, he'll give me a hug, and he will ask, oh, what's happening, what are you doing? But if I start chasing him, he'll run. He'll run. And that's why, that is the big reason men ghost. And also, I want to say, women, that I'm a big fan of spin dating. Spin dating, when you actually don't sleep with any man, but you date multiple men at one time.
Okay, I haven't heard of that.
They have to compete to get your time and your attention, and also being very open about it. If somebody doesn't, I know when I was dating and I told my husband, he was okay. He lifted his game so much after that, because it's about, like, he was asking after 4 months, he asked, oh, so-and-so's birthday, I would like to introduce my girlfriend. I looked at him, I said, who is your girlfriend? And he said, no, don't assume things about me. I'm not anybody's girlfriend. When you put it on the finger, you can call me whatever you want to call. I don't. And I feel like and it was not to manipulate. It was like, no, I don't want to be like, it's personal value. If somebody likes, no judgment around. If you like to be somebody's girlfriend, that's okay. But I feel like girlfriend, boyfriend, we used to do when we were teenagers. Now,
Yeah.
if you're looking for a committed relationship, you need to let a guy know that I'm looking for something long term. And,
Yeah.
like really being into commitment and not committing on date one and date two, just really taking time to see that man.
Mm.
Like, if Bob Grant says that, okay, if you haven't seen your man angry, don't marry him and don't commit to him. Because you
You
want to see
do
that.
need to see somebody in all of their different emotional states to, I feel as well, to be able to see them and how they react and how they sort of navigate through that, because you do need to see all of them.
Because, most of women are heartbroken in love because they are jumping into bed very quickly. If you can do it as a rock star, do it. I don't mind. You know, you
And
do
there's
it. Like,
nothing wrong with enjoying
yeah,
the sexual sort of intimacy, but if you are looking for that committed long-term relationship, it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that connection. And
like I would
yeah.
say that for me, if that is important to you, it is important for me, and it's great. But you need to actually see that, because sex is very putting yourself in a very vulnerable situation.
Mm.
And because when women have sex, they release oxytocin, and that bonds you with that guy.
Yeah.
And men do not feel anything after having sex. They have no feelings. Okay. Sex is just sex for them. And sometimes I feel like we women feel that, oh, we had sex, so he's in love and something. No. It takes continuous face to face engagement of 90 days for a man to actually feel something for a woman. And this is
Mm.
scientifically proven.
That's interesting.
Yes. So and also like, not, I feel like when I was dating, there was a very good fashion of, staying online every day and texting and chatting and being in a virtual love. You need to actually go and see that guy face to face.
Yeah. And that's
And
where a lot of women fall into a trap. You hear stories of people building this great relationship with someone they've never met, and sometimes even for a couple of years, sending money and just being totally done over, or, being told whatever they want to hear. But when it comes to meeting them in person, it's completely different. And I'm a big, I've never really done online dating. I'm very old fashioned. I can't bring myself to do this virtual kind of dating. It doesn't, I like to feel someone's energy and get to know them and really feel that connection. But yeah, look, it's changed the landscape, definitely, the online dating space.
it actually I feel like there is so much stigma around, and I'm not saying that online dating just gives you platform to connect with people, because
Mm.
I know that if we would have not, like, I met my husband through Tinder, which is named as hookup site or something, and I feel like we didn't had sex. I'm very open with that. Like, we didn't had sex until we got engaged, even 3 weeks after, But
Wow.
then, yeah, so it was like, and he's a white man, yes, he wanted sex, and it was like it for him. He said to me, we had this conversation about sex about like 3.5 months in, and I said, I feel like I don't want to be open sexually to a man who I don't know if he has a plan for me, because I
Yeah.
was looking to get married. Like, I just don't. I feel like if I am being somebody's girlfriend, I'm giving them a space to be commit to me and not commit to me, like being here.
Yeah.
And I feel like I asked him on the first date what you're looking in dating, and he was like, wow, that's very good question. And he generally has a habit of saying, oh, that's a very good question. And I know that he said, oh, yes, something long term. And if he would have said casual, I would say, honey, I feel like I'm not spending my time wisely. So I
But
would
some men might
have.
not always be honest with that question either. So they might say long term, but just so they can kind of get, I guess, a little bit closer.
just think that most men do not expect this question on first date.
Mm,
So, and they are like, they're always looking for something different. It is how they are built.
yeah.
And I feel like, in my experience, unless that man is sociopath and, abusive or toxic, most men know what they want. They might not say it loudly, but I feel like when you ask that question and you note the reaction, you will know.
Mm,
Okay. And I feel like men are more transparent than women. I was uh, around my dating period, I was dating somebody, and he said to me on our third date, he said, I like you and I would marry you if you're not a single mother. And I just said, thank you.
really?
Yes, yeah, yeah. It's not always like, you get, and I've read profiles on Tinder, which I didn't take too personally, but it was really hurting that, oh, I don't want to be dad of someone else's children and all that. And I feel like I'm grateful that those men have said it. So I wouldn't
Yeah,
fight on them. So I
yeah,
feel like don't really trust what he's saying, and also
yeah,
watch action, that what. And I know that after 2 dates with my husband, he fell sick and he cancelled our second date, and then he came to see me for the second date, and then he cancelled another one, and he said, I'm sick. And I just went cold as turkey on him. I just like, I was dating other people, I went on all dates, and then he really like, okay, he was just like, I was not responding to his text because I felt like I just know him for 2 days. Who is this man? And
yeah, yeah.
actually who he is.
And you
Like,
felt let down, really. I think most women would feel a little bit let down.
uh, I feel like I'm sort of like, I really invest in people when I see that they are up for that. I
Yeah.
always, especially with men, I'm very intentional that I will step back. Like, I will see that, okay, if he's moving 20%, I'll move 2%. It is sort of that is my mindset.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I was sort of like, maybe he's not interested, that's okay. People, like, we don't own anybody anything. He took me out for 2 dates, we had great time, it was great, I felt good, that's okay. But I just then he started texting and calling and said, when can I talk to you? I would like another chance. And I said to him, I feel like you're not very consistent, and I don't give my time to inconsistent men. And since he's been so consistent. We laugh about this, and he says, am I being consistent enough? And I'm not voting for all the men, but there are so many men in actually which I have met through my husband, through his work, through his friend. I feel like they're amazing men who are just looking to give a world to the woman. But also, women need to understand that a guy would not move mountains on date one. They
Yeah.
bond gradually. It takes time, and they need to, like this morning also, I was talking in one of my Facebook posts that men take really time. They don't fall in love with like women. We can fall in love on
Mm.
first day. Oh, he's so handsome, and we have all this.
That's
And most people,
true.
yeah, look for chemistry. Oh, am I getting a sexual vibe? He's sexy enough. I feel like my husband never gave me a sexual vibe. I was more interested to see his character, and I knew that when it comes to sex, we'll see. And also, like, it's still, there is sort of intimacy was built gradually over time, and that's what I teach in my program.
Mm.
That how you actually, I always talk about brownie points. You give brownie points to man when they actually have won those, not like, okay, being too available for men and just forgetting about your life. And I'm in a marriage, in a very wonderful marriage. I have so much life of me, which is my business, which is writing
Yep.
my books, which is connecting with my friends. I am not dependent on anybody to make me. Yes, he makes me very happy. And every time, most days when he's working from home, and or any, we can say, what would feel good to you? Or he's always planning, and he knows that if we have to go on a date, he has to plan it. It's just like, that's how being the dynamic is. And I do work more on myself and in my business than working on himself. And I feel like it is such a blessing, because he's so responsible for himself. I'm just mumming my son and nobody else.
Yeah.
And I feel like once you get a taste of that, because I feel like mostly women say, oh, men don't take initiative, they don't do this because you're being so masculine and you're attracting a feminine man. If you're masculine in your personal life,
Yeah.
in your love life, you're going to attract feminine men who would not move a bum. They will just sit, watch TV.
Yeah.
And also, like, my husband is never off the hook because he knows that I have very high standard and
Yeah.
I'm not controlled. He doesn't do that because I feel like, people are mirror. People are your mirror. What are you? What is going on here and what is going on here? People bring those mirrors when you see them. And I feel that if I'm not getting good quality matches on dating apps or, or in organically, there is so much, so much events that you can date organically men. If I'm not attracting quality matches, I look into my energy, what energy I am in. So
and that's so important. And I think when you, like you're saying, men are our mirrors. So when we get into relationships, and we were talking about this before, it can bring up parts of yourself that you might need to work on, or old wounds, and it can be challenging and it can be confronting, but it doesn't mean to say that it can't be worked through. It's an opportunity for you to work on yourself and grow in that partnership. So it's quite important to find the right man who's willing to step up, I guess, and to match you where you are, and to work through that together. Because I'm a very big believer that in relationships, it's all about teamwork. There's no one person does this and one does the other. You work as a team, you support each other, and it's so important to have that balance, because when you don't, things get they just get more and more challenging, and there's more and more resentment and built up emotions and things like that. So I hope you don't mind me mentioning. So you were saying before that with your husband, you have regular check-ins. So can you kind of elaborate a bit on that for the listeners, and the, I guess, the how that complemented your relationship?
So I feel like it's really helpful. We sort of have a thing that when any of the party he doesn't feel very often. He's a man. I'm feeling both.
We're emotional creatures. Yeah.
And also, like, sometimes I really have to sit in with things. Is it about him or is it about me? Because when you're in an intimate relationship, so much comes up, like your old wounds and all the devils you have here, they come up. And I feel like we sort of have a set, and like we do sort of feedback sessions like every 6 months, that where we sit down, we go on a date and we talk about, okay, how he checks in with me like pretty much every day, but I don't do that because I know that he doesn't feel that often. And if there is anything that we need to talk about, he will always, just say, honey, can we talk about this? Maybe let's grab a coffee and talk about it. So we do this feedback, and also, like, we really look into that. Okay, what are our goals as a family? What are our individual goals? And as if you have seen my Facebook story, he bought Tesla yesterday and it was a dream came true. And I feel like I was so excited that, and I know that since the date one we met, he talked about electronic vehicles and electronic music.
Yeah.
And sort of we check in with each other that, okay, is there anything we need to talk? And he doesn't have anything. I mostly have things because I'm okay. And I'm just like, but sharing that how I'm feeling, connecting with your feminine and how I'm feeling. And I also, like, every day, sort of after I finished work, I'll check, okay, am I feeling supported? Look, I am not entitled. Sometimes I feel that one day there was a washing outside, and I think he picked up his washing and he didn't really bring my washing and my son's washing. And I think it was very early when we moved in together. And I said, oh, my washing is outside. And he said, was I supposed to bring it? I said, you're not supposed to do anything, but I like if you would. And and just saying that, not being entitled, to, oh yeah, you have to give me this. And no, I am enough. I have enough to provide for myself and my boy. I like when men does the heavy lifting on financial phases, on all the, like, even when we are, it's like, we go to the parents meeting all together. He's quite involved with my son, and my son has some special needs, and I see that how he's growing up, and people make mistakes. He has also messed up, and I feel like we human mess up. But
Yeah,
if you
that's a part of life. None of us are perfect.
no, and if you're looking for a perfect man, you should stay single. I feel like there is no perfect man. Like, and I'm saying that I see his perfections, and I also see, like, one of the wedding vow I took as a that to cherish our differences, and really experience the gift of our imperfections. I am also imperfect. Like,
Yeah.
you see a perfect woman here? No. And we don't need to be perfect. We don't have to be size zero, and be hot and all that. I feel like a feminine woman is very hot for a masculine man. If you like a man who likes to initiate, who likes to pay, who likes to, who is a wall, like, there have been times, look, if I am alone, I am more than enough capable to look after what I need to. I have
Yeah.
an investment property. I have my, like, I've really worked hard in my life, and I do that. I love making money, and
Yeah.
but at the same time, I feel that he wants to invest so much in this relationship. And he's able to do that because I give him space to do that. And
Yeah.
he sometimes there have been mess ups, and there have been, like, he's not perfect. There have been times, but those times I didn't say that, okay, it was you who did it. When you say you're pointing finger, then all these fingers are looking at me.
Mm.
I will just say that how this situation made me feel. And he would say, your happiness is my priority. And we want to use those conversations for strengthening those bonds, not
Yeah.
breaking those bonds.
Yeah.
And always, I feel that when we women are very emotional, and we take, oh, if he's not texting and calling, it's like, oh, he doesn't love me. No, it's just that he might be stuck up in a business meeting, or he might be like my husband spends a lot of time learning about other things. It's one of his passion. Like, we don't hire any. It's his thing. He likes to fix and bring things, like he'll do all the maintenance around the house, around my investment property. And I know I've seen him, like, looking at YouTube, okay, how to fix drains, how to do this and this, because this is his, like, he's very masculine. He has to fix the problem. Like,
Mm. Yeah.
sometimes when I'm emotional, I just say, honey, I don't want it to be fixed. I just want to be heard. And
Yes. Yeah.
then, and it's important to let other, especially a man, know, because he doesn't think like us. I know that women think that men play games, but honestly, most men, 78% men on this planet do not know how to play games. It's just that we think that he's playing games. If he's not texting, either he's not interested, he doesn't want to take another date, and it's okay. There is, no response is a
Yeah.
response.
But we're basing that on our female point of view. Like, if we did that, that's how we would be feeling, I guess, perhaps.
Yeah. And
Um,
yeah, as I said before, that men are not women in hairy body. They're very different. They just feel three things. They need to pee, they're hungry, and they're just frustrated. Like, sometimes when you've seen, like, my husband feels very frustrated when he's driving, because he just wants to be on time everywhere, whereas I'm like cool down. And he said one day, and I know that there was sometimes when I judged him, but I feel like he just he's not causing me any harm. He's not causing anybody any harm.
mm.
And he doesn't do it when my son is in the car, and he doesn't swear. And no, it just, like, frustrated. And I think this is how he expresses.
Yeah.
And it's very safe for me. And when it is unsafe, I let him know, honey, I don't feel safe.
Yeah.
We feel that men are mind readers. They're not. As Steve Harvey says, you can train men, but you have to be really self-reflecting to train them and step into your feminine power.
So
Like,
do you think that's the key to to women out there who might be single, who are hesitant to get into relationships because of their past experience and their, I guess, perception that a lot of men can be the same, is to really do that inner work first and then look for a relationship?
I would say that, look, we're not looking for imperfection. I'm not perfect yet. It's a same road, and you can walk it all together. Because I feel like when you date, people highlight stuff, people mirror you, and then you always, oh, is it me or is it that person? Especially working on your self-worth. Your self-worth has nothing to do with you doing 50-50. No, you are a woman, you're present on date. I think that's more than enough for a man. And if he wants to do 50-50, then he will do always 50-50. When you are sick, he wants to do 50-50. When you are having a child, he wants to do 50-50. So do you really want to get into that? Because I feel like, yes, it's women and men are different in and they just operate things differently. But if we get into this 50-50 battle, we will lose. And that's why, since this 50-50 started, we are at the receiving end. And tell me, a woman, like any woman, whosoever is listening here, tell me, girl, if you did 50-50, that felt good. It doesn't feel good to me. Then there is no difference between my partner and my friends. Then I'm with friends. Why would I have to, I have to lose my freedom and be with a man? And also saying that, letting men know on the very first date, I like men who lead and initiate. Then the whole relationship is on him. You move when he moves. Okay. And also, like, it's you will meet. I have met passive men. I met, like, I remember when I started dating, first date, somebody took me to Hungry Jack's. Yes. And I'm just, okay. I could have, like, okay, I'm I drink cocktails and all that, but I just said, thank you. We had this conversation, and I felt like, other than, also second was also coffee date. I told him that, I don't really like coffee dates. I go on first coffee dates, but I would like to be taken to a nice place. And he said something, oh, you do this. And I said, sorry, that doesn't work for me. And I've never texted him. We never spoke again. It's not about, like, look, if he wanted to take a coffee date to a woman for second date too, he can find a woman that is okay to go on a second date as a coffee date. I am not, because when I sat down and I did my non-negotiables and my deal breakers, traveling and fine dining is my deal breaker. If somebody didn't like that, I cannot date that person, because I love to be traveling. And it's so, my husband and me went to Maldives. We have been to Bali a few times. We are going to Bali again in May. And he knows that I want to go in every country in the world. And he's the same. We love food, and we enjoy food. We enjoy cooking. We enjoy eating. So it's really working on what you value. Like, I would say that, go and ask a guy, if you're on a date or you're going on a date, or you're listening this, and maybe when you're going on a date, what are his values? So and also sometimes, men are not that tuned. Like, you see more women coaches. We're very in tuned. We have so much intuition. Men do not. He might not be able to answer this question, but you will see his values over the time, what he values. And I feel like really paying attention and seeing that, how a guy treats you, other than what he has. I have been on dates with guys who have this Porsche cars and all cool, and they do cool jobs, but it was hard for them to pay for a decent meal, which it is important for me. It might not be important for them, but for me, and it taught me a lot, that who values it. And I'm not saying that my husband is a richy bitchy. No, he's not. I didn't even know his salary until I think we got engaged, and then we were sort of, when I moved in, and we were sort of talking about finances, and because he knew that what I was earning, because I was a childcare trainer, and no, everybody knows what we earn. And he did ask me, and I think something came up, and he ended up asking me, and then I asked him, and he said, this much how much I earn. But I always saw that even though his income he is not a millionaire, but I feel like he treats me like a millionaire. We go, it's like we are out, like today also I was like, and he said, oh, can I take you for a coffee? Let's go for a coffee and let's go for a drive. So it's not that a guy has to be rich, a billionaire. There are little things, like I value little things. The days he offers, oh, I will go pick Jade, I'll go fix this for you, I'll go do this, and I value that. And he told me once that he's never felt that appreciated ever in his life.
Really?
Yes, he said, because he knows that I notice everything. I'm a Capricorn. I can't let slide off.
So, but I guess that kind of highlights that it goes both ways. Men also want to be noticed for the things that they're doing. And if they do fix things around the house, as a woman, don't just, oh, well, that's his job. That's what men do. Go, really thank them for it and acknowledge what they've done, because it's.
Yes. And I feel like we tell men, oh, you're very hot. No, I feel that I would say that I feel very valued when you do this for me.
Yeah.
I feel very loved when you go and pick up our son from the school when it's not your day. I feel very valued and loved when you cook dinner. And I feel like men. Oh my goodness, I know that this is how, like, appreciation. And men do learn things. Like, I know that initially it was very, oh, she doesn't do 50-50. Okay. She appreciates. And, I would say thank you. Still, it's the same. And even our son is saying, like, oh, thank you, my love. Thank you, my love. And hi, it's so good, and you're a rock star or something. And I feel like men like to be women's hero, and you are acknowledging, like, not taking it. You both are in a relationship or you are dating because you don't owe anything to each other if you are dating. But in relationship, like, it's even both ways. I would say that appreciation and acknowledging, because he wants to do more. Like, he told me, he's very open. Like, it's not that there is nothing hidden. I just feel so loved. And he also said in our wedding vows that he loves me because I love him the way he is.
Oh.
And everybody was in tears, and I just said, what has happened? And I know he didn't, and there were a few things that I never knew. And he told me in the wedding vows that, how it's like his days, like whole day he waits to come home to be with me. And
that's sweet.
So it's like creating that safe space for yourself, because you would not be able to create a safe space for other person if you are not a safe space for yourself.
Yeah.
I know that, yes, he's masculine, but there are days when he's sick. He's sick, and I step into some. I do a bit more when he's sick. The days he's sick, otherwise, and I know that still he resists. He would say, "It's okay, honey. I will sort my breakfast out." Right? Do it. Like, I just don't. I ask him, and even like so I don't gift him things. This is just a value I have. I don't give gift to men. Only gift he gets once on his birthday, and I would just straight away ask, honey, what would you like to do? And he would tell me that, we always like to go away for 2 nights or 4 nights or whatever is possible in the schedule. Yeah. And he will book, he'll pay for it, and then I will pay when I want to pay. So and honestly, I feel like it's so important, and that I feel so safe in this relationship, because I'm so valued. I'm so, like, he will every time he'll tell me, oh, you look very beautiful. And I feel like I don't do it every day, but once in a while when he dressed up, I said, honey, you look very handsome. And sometimes it's like you are so much in your brain here that you're forgetting to connect with your body, and also looking that, do you feel safe in the presence of this man. And especially for single mothers, I would, because I was a single mother, and I love to support single mothers, and I say that please don't introduce your children to your dates very quickly. It's not. They don't need to know how many boyfriends or how many dates you went on. They don't.
I think that's extremely important because it's
because
for
I feel
numerous reasons.
yeah, sometimes I was very particular about that, and I know that I had heard of these experiences where children are used to get into trap you, or because it's like nobody is going to step into that father role. That takes time, and I feel like my husband is still working on that. And I know that my son has his own struggles, because my son misses his biological father. And there are times when, if Jordan has said something, Jeeve, that's not okay, I'm going to my papa. Kids also
But
like,
that's normal sort of changes and emotions to work through when there's a change in family dynamics. But it's working through that the right way.
and also not expecting, like, I never expected that man. I know that they might be, he said to me that I might not be able to his father, but I would still be a person who he trusts. And I know that he's doing it. And there are times, because he has never had children. So he's never been around children. And I know that he puts so much effort. He is trying to be where it would be ideal for him to be, but building that pressure on both parties to, oh, you have to behave like dad and son. No, that's unrealistic. And really saying that if he took time to bond with you, your child is another level, and a man would invest in that relationship only if he has a long-term plan. And if a man does not, I was very clear that, okay, if this doesn't happen by this time, I'm gonna stop dating you. So really holding your grounds and not giving up. Okay, I know that there have been times where I've been like, if it's not gonna just stop, I want to call and I want to. No, I don't have to chase him. Why would I have to chase him? I don't want to do it. And I feel like sometimes we feel that, oh, I'll call him and I'll remind him that I'm missing him and all that. He does not feel that often. And he needs time and experience emotions around you and feel very safe around you to be able to connect with you. I know that we have expectation that men should be this way, and I'm also saying, oh, men should pay for dates and this, but also, like, are you that safe space? Are you trying to be what you want to attract? Because you don't attract what you want, you will attract who you are. So I would say that looking into your energy, do you have any limiting beliefs? Or you're stonewalling? Because I know that once women are heartbroken, and I've been on that spot, and I feel like every woman has been at that spot where somebody broke your heart and you go all, oh, I don't feel anything. You're a woman. It's hard not to feel anything. Even if you have a brain, you will feel emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, so for listeners out there who want to reach out to you and get some relationship coaching or have a session with you, what tell us a little bit how that works and how they can reach out to you.
You can reach out on Facebook, Navee Sparkle. That's my name. No, there is no other Navee Sparkle there. And also there is a group that I run that I give freebies, that is Sparkle Softies group. And you can also find me on Instagram, Coach Navee Sparkle. And my website is there, www.naveesparkle.com.
Okay, great. And I will also put all the information in the bio below for listeners out there. Look, thank you so much for our chat today. I've really loved all the ground that we've covered, and I think it's so important for women to really be able to reflect and attract the right man, because it can be very challenging, especially in these times. But yeah, making them work for it a little bit.
Yeah, and also I feel when suppose if you're a businesswoman or you're a woman who is really really into high positions, it is very important to have that wall back home who supports you. And I feel like there is men do not like most men are not threat to your success. My husband, when I started my business is 2022, when we had the first client, he brought a champagne. And
Oh,
it's like I feel like he's not threatened because he is so much involved. He's already doing so much in relationship, and my income is a bonus. And I feel I do contribute when I feel good, and there is no expectation. He is so much doing in the relationship. Men only feel threatened when you're not involving them in anything. They feel
they're not needed.
yes, they're not needed. That's a man like to be needed and to be trusted.
Yeah. Oh, well, look, thank you so much again. I really think that you've got a lot to offer women out there who may need that assistance or just some coaching and on their own self-reflection to be able to get to the right point to attract the right partner. So, look, thank you once again. Listeners out there, you can get in touch with Navee on those details that she gave, and they are on the link below. So we will have another episode up soon. And thank you once again, Navee.
Thank you, Marika, for giving me this platform and connect with your listener. And I hope people got value out of that. I tried my best. That's what I do.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm sure they did. We had some great conversations. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.